Welcome back, everybody. In this episode, I'll be doing my weekly news and opinion. So, what do I got in line for this week? We'll talk about the RNC, the Republican National Convention. I did watch all 4 days of it, and from what I saw, and then what was said, especially with the major news media outlets, the pundits. Man, I just cannot believe the bias that these news media has. What they were saying, and then what I saw. Right, if you watch the full RNC convention, they didn't line up with the pundits. What the pundits were saying, even PBS, ABC, NBC, CBS, all of them, MSNBC, whatever. Um, they were. I don't know what I don't know what they were watching. They must have been watching the DNC convention. Uh, because what they were saying about the RNC convention didn't line up from what I actually saw. Anyways, I'll talk a little bit about that. And then the next thing is there was there was technically two hurricanes that hit U.S. at the same time. One was Marco, which fizzled out and became a tropical storm. And then Laura, which became a Category 4 before hitting landfall, I believe. And it was the highest wind speed, but it was very small, very small. It was very compact. I only mention it because there was a chance that it might hit where I live around Houston, and it did hit Texas and Louisiana, the border. But if you know how hurricanes work, depends on what side you're on, you'll get a surge of water. Though I probably was about, I would say maybe 100 miles away from the eye of the storm. But man, it didn't affect us at all. Thank goodness. There was a potential. That's why I mention it. And the next thing I'll talk about is Kenosha, Wisconsin. A lot of rioting regarding Jacob Black, shot in the back, still alive. But there was a lot of rioting, dispute on whether he was going for a knife or whether he was not going for the knife. In any case, just another incident which the BLM and the Antifa movement are going to just jump on, which they are. A lot of rioting, looting, burning buildings and cars. I don't know what kind of place Kenosha, Wisconsin is, but it seems to be not a great place to be right now. And related to that, there was Kyle Rittenhouse, a 17-year-old boy, right? And everyone's claiming he's a quote-unquote white supremacist. There's also reports he's not even white. He's Hispanic. But anyways, he's 17 years old. Shot 3 people in self-defense, and I've seen the video. I've seen the videos. I don't know what led up to the first shooting, but the second shooting was definitely self-defense. The third shooting was self-defense. I don't know about the first shooting. All I know is that he was being chased after. He shot someone in the head. I don't know if that person survived. I think that's one of the person that didn't survive. The second shooting, this is all in the same night as he was trying to get to safety. It seems like he was trying to get to safety. He wasn't quote unquote fleeing. He was trying to get to safety, running towards the police. And so I'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. And so, these are things I'll be talking about. So let's start with the RNC. I watched 4 days of it. It was very inspiring. It was very hopeful, well produced compared to the Democratic National Convention. Well choreographed. I know a lot of it was scripted and everything. Some of it was maybe live and a lot of it was recorded. But in either case, it was well done. And you could tell the the management and the presentation was professionally done. And if I compare that to the DNC, I mean, it was just all over the place. It felt like a Jerry Lewis telethon house party, poorly thought out. And then when I look at the RNC, the Republican National Convention, well choreographed, professional, like perfect, top notch. And if you compare those two, you know, you compare those two, you have to ask yourself, which side do you want running the country? You want, do you want it to be run like a house party, like a Jerry Lewis telethon house party, or do you want it to be run like a professional, high production value, right? High production value, perfectly done presentation. I would pick the perfectly done professional presentation. You know, that's just my opinion. If I wanted a country to be run, um, everything they said struck a balance for me. I understood what they were saying. They said things that needed to be done, and they addressed things and the problems that are going on in America that need to be done, and they had a plan to do things. Everything they said, I agreed with. All right, and so it was perfect. And then the nomination, the acceptance speech, professionally done. The fireworks were awesome. The ending, the opera, and the singing, and all that, very well done. Very well done. It was way better than the DNC. I can tell you that. All right, let's move on to the Kenosha, Wisconsin. At this point, if it's a white police officer that shoots at a black person, whether they are guilty or not guilty or whatever, it doesn't even matter. Just we have to accept the fact that there's probably going to be riots in that area. And if there's riots in that area, it's most likely going to be in a ghetto part of an area on top of that, in my opinion. So I don't see how this is helping. It's destroying that community. I just don't see how it's helping the rioting and the looting. The protesting, fine, you can protest, but these aren't peaceful protests by any means. And again, what you're seeing is white agitators, all right, probably associated with Antifa or the Antifa movement, and just causing all the mayhem. Uh, there are BLM protesters, but I don't know how much of that movement is involved in all the riot and looting. But in either case, from what I can tell, these aren't really, high-end neighborhoods that are riot and looting. So, just expect these kind of events to happen in probably not the nice part of town if these events happen. Like, again, a white police officer shoots at a black suspect. Expect these kind of events. Does it bother me? Well, since I don't live in Kenosha, Wisconsin, or live in that kind of a area, I don't see myself being involved in any way, shape, or form. So it doesn't bother me whatsoever. You know, these are local issues, and if these are how the local people want to handle their local community, there's nothing I can do really. Um, as long as it doesn't get out of hand and spread into other areas that have nothing to do with this, they can do whatever they want, and it seems like that's what's going on. Now we'll get into Kyle Rittenhouse. Again, I've seen multiple videos, and again, I don't know the start of it, why he was running away from, he was being pursued by someone, and obviously felt threatened enough to pull the trigger. That was the first shooting. The second shooting was when someone was trying to take a skateboard and bash his head in while he was on the ground, That was the second shooting. That person died, got shot in the chest with a rifle. All right, AR-15 rifle. Don't know what round, 5.56, 223. In either case, you know, you get shot in the head or in the chest, there's really high chance you're gonna die. And why would you attack a person with a rifle? Doesn't make any sense. Now, the third shooting, a man had a gun and was approaching Kyle Rittenhouse while he was on the ground, and he ended up shooting his arm. And I saw the picture of his arm, a huge cavity in his biceps. That guy will most likely, there's just a huge cavity. A lot of damage was done to that bicep. He may have to be amputated because there's just nothing there. His bicep is gone. There's nothing to reattach. I'll be amazed if they are able to reattach. If they do reattach, his arm is useless. Okay, he may he may be able to close his hand, right? He may be able to have partial use of his hand, but the arm is wasted. There's just nothing there. Um, Again, why would you try to confront or take aggression against a person who has a rifle, who already shot someone? I don't know. Why, if you had a handgun, would you need to get up point blank to the person in order to use it? I don't know. A lot of poor decisions were made, but I do believe in the end, Kyle Rittenhouse is justified in self-defense. I do believe that from what I've seen. Um, from what I've seen, anyways. So a lot of mayhem can go on. It's a lesson learned if you are a gun owner or if you carry a gun. Uh, don't get involved if you don't know the situational awareness. All right, if you don't know the situation, don't get involved. Don't pull out your gun, start shooting. Try to have situational awareness, understand what's going on. If you're not in harm, if there's no harm to you, there's no point in engaging, right? Engaging to, in harm's way. There's no point. So if anything can take, if you learn anything from this situation, as a gun owner myself, that's what I take away. Understand the situation, have situational awareness. If there's no harm to you, there's no point in getting involved. Very simple. Very simple. Anyways, I'm going to conclude this episode. Feel free to like, share, comment. Please subscribe. Until next time, everybody. See you all next week. Bye-bye.